what I want to do right now is take you through some of the most recent innovations that we've done in the Marketing Cloud. And actually, these shoes have something to do with that. I'll get back to that later. Those innovations are really around, how can we give you marketeers more functionality, but also how can we allow the solutions within the Marketing Cloud, the Content Manager, the targeting solution, and the campaign solution, to even more efficiently work together. And if you were here last year, you've seen me demonstrating together with a few other colleagues the company, a fictitious company, Geometrics Outdoors. They sell outdoor sport activity products like shoes and clothing and stuff like that. It's a fictitious company, and I'm just going to go back to them this year again. And because we make up these numbers, I know they've done perfect this year. You just can invent them on their own. It's a demo company. But they've actually moved from being a pure online player into the regular brick and mortar stores. So they have physical presence in cities. You can go into this store and you can touch and play with the shoes that they have. And as we are doing that, I'm going to take you through a journey. So last year we were looking at the back end, and all the things that a marketer needs to do to set up such campaigns and stuff like that. Right now I really want to look at the journey, the experience for the end user. And we will be touching upon a few things like activation and context. The idea of collecting the right amount of data, which you can all take into account to then trigger the consumer, the prospect that you have with relevant information and relevant campaigns. And we will be talking about profile matching. One of the things that have to do with the explosion of digital devices. More and more we see that end users, when they are in their journey, when they are exploring the products and the services that you have, that they are not using a single device anymore. And we've seen Stefan mentioned it before, it's almost getting confusing right now. So many devices that people can use to interact with you. And how are you as a marketer going to be able to understand what a specific user is doing on one device and what that same user is doing on another device later as part of the journey. So we will be talking about how the Adobe Master Marketing Profile can actually play a role in there to help you to solve that. And as I'm clicking through the demonstration, you will see on your right-hand side of the screen just the screen that the end user is experiencing. So we will see there the specific content that is being served out to them. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see what the Marketing Cloud sees. It's not necessarily visualized there, but this is all of the information that the Adobe Marketing Cloud has and knows about that specific consumer. And we're going to leverage that as part of the journey to be more relevant and see what is going on there. So first of all, we are looking at this screen. Our journey is starting on a mobile device, and as we're looking through it, I'm going to touch upon a few of the core functionalities of the Marketing Cloud. Looking at dynamic tag management, which is available for free for a lot of the customers of Adobe already. We will be looking at the mobile SDK, which is an existing functionality where we released the latest version only 2 weeks ago. Some really cool mobile functionality in there. Obviously, we will be looking at the Master Marketing Profile. It's a shared sort of storage within the Marketing Cloud in which we combine a lot of the information that we have about the customers and which the other solutions can hook into. And as we start the journey, we start on a mobile device and even more frequently see that it starts on social. That's where users engage and very often first time see your brand. And in this case, we see that the user that is working with this device is presented with a very nice Facebook advertisement. We've been, as Geometrics Outdoors, we've been using Adobe Social and Adobe Media Optimizer to serve out the relevant advertisement to this specific user. And because it is a demo and because it's an ideal user, he actually feels attracted by the specific sport shoes that he sees. So what happens is that he clicks on it, and from the social channel, he will then move into the responsive website of the of the Geometrics Outdoors brand. So let's stop here for a moment, because right now what happens is that initially the first touch between the brand Geometrics and the consumer was on social channel. And then he clicked on to an owned channel for Geometrics Outdoors. And that is a very interesting moment from a marketing perspective, because in social we can have conversations, but we cannot really collect a lot of information about that specific consumer. Whilst as soon as the user arrives on our owned domains, on our mobile websites or mobile apps or what have we we actually are able to start to collect a lot of information about that customer. So in this case, we are using Adobe Dynamic Tag Manager to immediately start to collect the relevant information about that end user. And as the user is on this landing page, which of course was built using Adobe Experience Manager, he can click through it and look at a lot of the details on that product. And that is where the Adobe Master Marketing Profile is going to come in the picture. And this is where we keep track of all of the things that the user is doing. And we try to build up the context that is going to help us as a marketer and help the Marketing Cloud as a technology to understand what this user is doing. So first of all, we see that this is an anonymous user. This seems to be the first time that he is visiting our website on his mobile device. And even though we do not know a lot about this person, we do know that he's coming from Facebook, because that's where the link came from. So what we can immediately start to do, and that's what you see sort of in the middle of the screen, the top right part of the marketer views, we can start to look at all of the visitors that we've had to our website, all of the people that came from different sources. And we can try to match and do lookalike modeling of this user that came to the website and see if there are any other users that were on our website before that are showing the same kind of behavior. So immediately see that we have an audience match, which is that this user is coming from Facebook. And on the bottom of the screen, you can see that we're building up that information. As more as the users clicking through the screen and interacting more with our products, we can get more information. So for example, we can see what are the product categories that this user is looking at, or what are the specific products that a user has seen, because all of that is building up the context and is giving us more information on what this end user is doing. And as the user engages, he adds the products to the shopping cart. And again, that is an event that we can in real time measure in the Marketing Cloud. We can identify what has been going on, and immediately we can enrich the profile. We can right now say, hey, this is also a potential shopper. So it's another definition of the audience. We can get more information about that. And all of that information can be used. So the product category, the runners, the fact that something was added to the basket, all of that can be used to then in real time send out a targeted message to that end user. And so we see on this part of the screen that there is a free delivery promotion being displayed to that end user. That is Adobe Target plugging into all of the information that we collected to then in real time decide, in those 300 milliseconds, which we truly use in our engineering tests to make sure that we make those numbers. Adobe Target is using all of that information to then display the right creative asset on the screen. So we're using things like behavioral targeting and automated optimization to display the relevant content to the end user, to then, in this case, encourage the end user to add an extra product to the shopping cart to be eligible for free shipping. So as that journey continues, the end user is going to check out, and Geometrics is offering that user the ability to sign in using the social credentials that he has, a Facebook account or a Twitter account. We see it more and more these days. And that is the moment in time where the end user is actually allowing us to know a little bit more about him. That's the moment in time where he starts to share personal information with us. So as soon as that happens, we actually see that this is not an anonymous user anymore. This is actually Anders, and Anders has been visiting our website quite often already. So we see that all of that information can right now be combined in the master marketing profile, and we see that this is actually the 19th visit that Anders did to our website, and even more so, he already bought 5 times from our store with an average order value, which is quite reasonable. So suddenly we get lots of information about this end user. He used to be anonymous, and as part of the journey, we identify who he is, and we can get all of that information and start to enrich our audience information even further. Now, we already heard Stefan say that, these days things can get a bit complicated for, people working on devices and stuff like that. You can get distracted, something happens. So, Jamie, I'm going to just quickly ask you to use the mobile device there. So what is happening in this scenario is that Anders got distracted and he had to put down his phone and he basically left the procedure to check out. So we have an abandoned shopping cart. And obviously that is not something very fun, as a marketer, you want people to complete, but things like that happen. So he forgets about geometrics outdoors until, the next day, where Anders is walking in a city and indeed steps into the physical store that geometrics also has these days. And geometrics is looking at bridging the gap between, the in-store experiences that they have, the fact that you can see the shoes and that you can touch them and can try them on. And they're looking at combining that with, the digital experiences and all of the digital sales channels that they have. So one of the things that Geometrics has done is they've actually encouraged people to go into the store, and if you are a loyal customer, they encourage you to download a specific app, the Geometrics app, which is there for you to use in the stores or some other places as well, but definitely in the stores, which is going to augment the experience that you have. Geometrics is going to use the app on your mobile phone to show you extra information on the products that you can have in your hand. So that is where I want to switch to my mobile screen and show you how we can actually use some of the latest technologies in the industry, as well as some of the latest technologies in the marketing cloud, to build a fully personalized experience. So I'm going to launch the Geometrics app, which was installed by Anders. And you will see, pay attention to what happens to the screen, but as soon as he starts to interact with one of the shoes, the app is actually going to respond. Do you see how that happened? Do it again. And so you can just pick up one of the shoes, and if everything is working as expected, nice. The app updates itself, and it will understand what shoe I am looking at. And actually, Geometrics can use all of that information to then display relevant content. It can tell you, how many of these products do we still have on stock, or what are the user reviews, or, any other information that you would like to combine as part of the experience. So that is a totally cool way of enhancing the experience and bridging the online and the offline world, so to say. But you could also use it more traditionally. Let's imagine that Anders, liked the shoes, but he didn't buy them. And he is about to walk out of the store, and we can then use the same technology, which is the iBeacon technology. I will explain to you how it works, but we can use the same technology. You see, I pick up a specific iBeacon to then send a push notification to Anders saying, hey, you're about to leave the store. Why don't you pick up the shoes that you liked, and we will give you 10% discount, just as an extra trigger to get you in there. So what is really going on behind the screens is that actually within these shoes, we have the same beacons integrated. So just to show you how that works, we have the sort of bigger version right now. You can just get them in many places in the world, but these are basically identifiers. They are little sort of hotspots that broadcast a message and send information about what is happening to, in this case, the shoe, when it is being picked up or when you're nearby. And the same is true with the exit. And if I can switch back to my presentation again, I would really like to show what is happening behind the screens with this as well, because we have this personalized experience and we have the interaction between the app and the cloud. But on the other hand, this is super interesting marketing information. And what we have done from the marketing cloud perspective is we've actually integrated the full experience that we've shown. So we've seen how you have the standard app, how it can respond to all of the different products that you pick up, and it can send you push notifications. Actually, all of that is driven by the marketing cloud. The mobile SDK that is integrated in this app is going to do all of the orchestration and sending out of the messages and showing all the personalized information. To dig even deeper into that, let's go into sort of the back end, what the marketer sees. We can actually, within the marketing cloud, the user interface for the marketeers, we can run reports on all of the things that happened on that mobile device. So we can exactly tell you what happened in store when people were interacting with your products that were beacon enabled. So we can see how often a specific shoe was picked up, and we can even enrich that information with sales information coming from your backend system to tell you if there is any a relationship between how often people looked at the shoes and how many of those were sold. And all of that can be tied back again into that master marketing profile if you want. So I'm going to go back into the consumer journey again, and Anders left the store for some reason. He had to go. He didn't take time to get a discount. But still, Geometrics would like to orchestrate the way in which they communicate. So what they really would like to do is send out an email to Anders, 1 or 2 days later saying, hey, Anders, didn't you leave something in the store? Either in the shopping cart that you abandoned or in the true physical store. So they create this email using Adobe Experience Manager. They push that into Adobe Campaign. And Adobe Campaign, through the integration with analytics and the master marketing profile, actually can be informed on the fact that a user, left the shopping cart, abandoned the shopping cart. And then we can use that information to proactively send out the email to Anders. And that's what we see in the next slides. So Anders is opening the email, but he's using a different device. That's the theme of today. So what happens in the Marketing Cloud is he basically, he's recognized as an unknown user. So he's not recognized actually. So he's anonymous. We don't really know a lot about him. The only thing that we know through Adobe Campaign Analytics integration is that he came from a specific email campaign. So we can already start to build up a new segment for the specific end user. But obviously, as he is shopping and adding more products to the shopping cart, he can check out, and there will be a moment in time where we ask Anders to, or at least the person, to make himself known. So we will get the social login functionality again, and bang, there you go. We take all of the history back into the master, or we can use all of the history right now. We can link the mobile phone, where first he was anonymous and then made himself known. We can link that with all of the information that we have on the laptop, where first he was unknown and then recognized. And we can bring that together in that same master marketing profile. And right now you see that indeed there were 20 visits that he has made. We have all of the history, we have everything back again. And again, that is the moment in time from where we can start to be more relevant to him. And so this is an example of where you see how actually 3 of the core services are playing together. We've seen Dynamic Tag Manager, told you about that. We've seen the mobile SDK integrating into the app and the experiences that we have. And I showed you a bit of the master marketing profile.